Isn't this a great event? Yeah. And thanks to the CLU staff that set up an absolutely magical winter wonderland. I think they turned down the air just a little because, you know, Californians, this is about as good as it gets with blue lights and twinkle trees. As Laura said, this is our inaugural summit, but it surely won't be our last. The summits are designed to give an opportunity for us to gather around some of the issues that are very important to Claremont Lincoln's mission. Our vision was inspired by our founders, namely Jerry Campbell and David Lincoln, who deplored the use of violence to resolve differences, especially those that involved faith. Fortunately, our namesake, David Lincoln, is a man of commitment and action. So we didn't just think about this worldwide dilemma. He funded a university whose purpose is to provide students with the knowledge and skills necessary to bridge differences, to move from conflict to understanding and action. This is CLU. David's vision, the CLU vision, is to create a new standard of behavior, a standard that welcomes and values different perspectives and uses those perspectives to bring people together to make change. A standard based on the skills of mindfulness, dialogue, collaboration, and change-making. A standard that will provide advanced behaviors that take us beyond violence as a response to difference and disagreement. Surely, we can do better than that. Tonight we come together to learn from two people who use their talent to help others understand differences and embrace them. We are here because we want to learn. Our lives are intertwined. There's no escaping it. So we desperately search for ways to respond to differences without violence. Leave this summit tonight with new insight and a renewed commitment and resolve to make the world a better place.
Well, I want to thank everyone for coming out tonight. My name is Whitny Braun. I'm the Director of Educational Programming here at Claremont Lincoln University. And when we put on programs, we believe that you cannot truly get to know each other unless you break bread together. So hopefully you're already breaking bread and looking forward to a really amazing meal tonight. We also believe that you can't really get to know each other unless you're willing to get a little uncomfortable. So the theme for tonight's dinner is uncomfortable conversations. In fact, the whole weekend is themed uncomfortable conversations. So we've put together a cast of characters that will come up here and we'll try and talk about uncomfortable things, but in a lighthearted manner. And as Rainn said backstage, humor is often the best way to break through people's walls and communicate and get at the heart of the matter. So our first guest tonight is someone who I feel it's been a profound privilege in my capacity in this job to get to know. Several months ago when we said we wanted to put on a summit, we were trying to think of guests that would represent the values that we espouse here at Claremont Lincoln. And one of the first names that came up was Zach Anner. And so I said, well, how do we get to know Zach Anner? And then the magic of Twitter made that possible. And so after reaching out to Zach and a few Skype sessions later, I felt like I was a much better person and Claremont Lincoln was about to get a really good show and we were all going to learn a lot. So I'd like to introduce Mr. Zach Anner.
Well, it's nice to be here. Are you guys ready to make things uncomfortable? Thanks for having me.
Well, of course. I feel like this is awkwardly placed. Is it okay if I just move this over a little bit? Thank you.
No, I want the mic right in the middle there, just so it's weird.
Okay, just so it's weird. So, to get things started tonight, I wanted to bring up the fact that you describe yourself, you're self-described religious idiot, correct?
Yeah, slightly less so now since I did, 20 episodes or whatever of Have a Little Faith. But when we started it, I didn't grow up with a religious background. So I knew nothing about religion except that my grandmother was a church organist. And I always used to like it when she would play Somewhere Over the Rainbow on the organ. So when we started to Have a Little Faith, it just came out of curiosity of wanting to understand faith, but also understand people. And that's what we sort of learned from making the show, is that there's a common humanity between all faith.
So should we start things off to try and make it uncomfortable with should we just do a warm-up exercise?
Sure.
Okay. What is the most, what would somebody call you? What word would be used to describe you that would make you the most uncomfortable?
What would somebody call me? Inspirational, I think, it bothers me the most. Because I honestly have done some horrible things in my life, and there are some great people that have not done those things. And it just seems to be, a lot of times people use it as a dismissive term, I think. People assume that whenever I do anything at all, whether it's putting on pants or opening a door, just because I'm doing it, oh, that's so inspirational.
The word I hate, and it sounds not as good as what you came up with, but it's when somebody calls me a gal.
Oh.
Once upon a time, I was talking to a gentleman, and he said, well, I can't call you a woman. And I said, well, how come? And he said, well, I can't call you a girl either. And I said, well, why not a woman? He said, well, because you're not married. And I said,
what?
Yeah, and I said, well,
wait a minute.
Yeah. And I said, well, wait, but you can't call me a girl. He goes, no, because you're too old. So you're too old to be a girl, and you're not married, so you can't be a woman. And so I said, so what do you call me then? He goes, a gal.
I don't think you need to be around that person to figure out what he's going to call you. Just leave the table.
Well, should we make this evening more uncomfortable?
I think so. I don't think it's
What
really
element could we possibly add?
Well, I've got there's someone backstage who has kind of made a living out of being uncomfortable character. So this is a man who was my boss for a year. And he's an Emmy-nominated actor, best-selling author, co-founder of SoulPancake, and he recently lost, he's a big chess loser. He lost to Magnus Carlsen, the chess master, in I think 28 moves. And the only reason I bring that up is because Bill Gates lost in 9. So I'd like to introduce to you the man who is 3 times better than Bill Gates, Rainn Wilson.
Yeah.
Right on my lap. Whoops, whoops. Hi. Hi.
We're just having an awkward conversation.
This is so awkward.
It is.
Are people eating? No? Do you want me to run to In-N-Out Burger? Get you guys something? I'll be back in like 5 hours.
Well, I thought I'd start tonight off with a little bit of current events. So we've all, of course, been hearing in the news about the Charlie Hebdo attack. And that has gotten me thinking about the question, is there anything so sacred, and I'm asking both of you, is there anything so sacred that you cannot touch it with comedy?
Wow, this is a heavy-hitting question.
Right off the bat.
Sorry.
I mean, there's certainly a number of topics that you just cannot make jokes about. And I personally believe that it's a very fine line, but it's important to understand in comedy that if you mock certain things that people hold sacred, they will be very upset by that. That doesn't justify killing a bunch of people, cartoonists because of it, but I think it's a pretty basic thing. So I think people who are arguing that comedy can mock anything and that art can mock and denigrate anything they're just not being practical about what it is to be a human being.
I agree with you, but I'll add to it. I think that comedy, at its best, starts a conversation. I don't think that any conversation is above having, and I think when you're smart about being funny, you can talk about nearly anything. It's just, you have to be very mindful that of the people that you're talking about and whatever it is you're talking about is gonna, there are some things that if you talk about them, they'll offend someone no matter what. And that doesn't mean they're any less important to talk about. And I think the best comedians can sort of traverse those really tricky subjects and still make you laugh, but make you think in a way that's deeper than if you were just saying something academically.
I agree completely. I think comedy opens doors to cultural conversations as well that you have nationwide. You can have a Chris Rock comedy routine that begins a national dialogue on a topic. That's very important, and some of his jokes are, can really be shocking, but people like him play a very important role in a culture. So there are those gadflies to the Athenian nation that help elevate the national conversation.
All right, so I got a follow-up question. What topic is the most uncomfortable topic for you to talk about?
About 8 things just flashed through my head that are really inappropriate for me to say tonight at this delightful gathering.
No, it's okay. Go for it.
What is the most uncomfortable? Did you answer that question already?
No, I haven't answered it. I'm waiting to hear what you're going to say. And
I don't have any, honestly. I really don't. You could ask me about anything, and it would be fine. How are you guys doing? Are you guys doing all right? I just wanted to say to Zach, who worked at my company that I helped found, SoulPancake, hosted this wonderful show, as you heard in the introduction. We put together a little reel on Zach and his comedy and his hosting capabilities that I think you'd all very much enjoy. So we're going to show a little video to warm up, get to know Zach a little bit different and in a different context.
Oh, thank you.
Let's hit it.
Hi, I'm Zach and I was just Terminatoring into this field to tell you guys about my exciting new travel. Oh my God! Oh, I'm naked! Oh no! Let me catch you up. In 2010, I put up an audition video to win a show from Oprah about what really happens when you travel. Amazingly, the Reddit community and other awesome places from around the internet really got behind it, and millions of people voted so that I could have a chance to win that show. And I won that show.
And on December 12, 2011, Rollin' with Zach debuted and was watched by tens of fives of people. Needless to say, I went from Oprah to Nopra in record time. So we're going to take you inside the Texas Capitol as soon as we find the wheelchair ramp. Hey, look, there's me. Oh, thank God. Oh, thank you. Love you, buddy. Mount Bunnell is completely handicapped accessible if you have two guys that are willing to carry you up 1,000 steps in 100-degree heat. This is a plaque that's commemorating Texas's secession from the Union in the Civil War. I choose to highlight the grass. Look at this landscaping. You see these pretty pink ones, and then the blue ones for the boy, and then a king-size one for me. Oh yeah, this is nice. I could spend quality time in here. As you can see, I am in a motorized device here because I can't walk. So if you could just do your little fairy dust or whatever, and we'll see if it works, okay? You're a fraud. So if you're ready, grab some snacks, put on some hot tunes, and buckle up, because this time, you're driving. Giddy up, Internet. Wow, I've never seen that. That's wonderful. So now that you guys have seen me naked, are you still hungry, or can they just cancel all the food? Thank you so much for doing that. I didn't prepare a video clip for you.
You didn't?
No, I didn't know this was a swap thing.
Get out. Get out.
All right.
Now,
there's no ramp on this side.
Let's sue them then.
So, I don't know where to go from there.
Do you have another awkward topic for us to talk about?
I do have lots of awkward topics. Do you want me to just start spitballing?
Let's go.
Okay. So I want to know, for both of you, you woke up tomorrow on CNN, and they had definitive
If we
proof.
woke up tomorrow on CNN,
No,
like
I'm
they
sorry,
put our beds in the studio?
With Wolf
Oh
Blitzer?
my God!
Let me clarify.
An awkward situation.
That's very awkward. If you woke up tomorrow and you turned on your television and CNN announced they had definitive proof that God did not exist, what would you change about your life? What would change in your life? Would you live your life any differently?
That's a ridiculous question.
That is a ridiculous question. I would probably look at the Jennifer Lawrence nude photos. I've resisted from doing that because I want to be a good person, but if there was definitively, if they said there wouldn't be any problem with it,
So that's a very interesting point that you raised, Zach, because you're saying that if there was somehow proof that there was no God, then you would decline your moral values and your ethical values, right, Mr. Lincoln? You would degrade them because there would be really no such thing as morality and no consequences for your behavior. Is that right?
I hadn't thought about it that deeply, but now that you mention it, I would like to retract my response.
Retracted. No take-backs. I think that I think the universe is this wonderful puzzle and mystery in which there is no tangible proof of God. There's not a mathematical equation or a laboratory where you can demonstrate an experiment in some way, shape, or form that shows that there must needs be a creator to have all of this wonderful, miraculous creation that we experience every day. And yet at the same time, I feel that the evidence of a creator and of God is with us in some truly extraordinary ways. on a daily basis that, again, could never be proven. So that's a wonderful paradox in this world where we live in a miraculous physical world filled with beautiful galaxies and trees and ferns and string quartets and incredible things where it is possible to imagine this universe of matter and molecules and physical laws always having existed without a beginning or without any force bringing it to life. And at the same time, I know in my own personal life, when I experience something like the love of my son, the love for my family, my wife and son, how music affects my soul, when I see beautiful works of art, when I commune with nature and ponder my consciousness, I see nothing but God around me. So I think there's an interesting, a fascinating human challenge that has existed since the dawn of time, which is this incredible mystery that we're living in. So, holding for applause. No, stop it. I don't know if am I supposed to try and be profound? I don't know.
That was very profound. I didn't prepare anything as profound as that.
I didn't prepare that. It was off the cuff.
That was off the cuff?
Yeah.
Okay.
I got more where that came from.
Well, I have a question for you because, you know, you're a Baha'i, right?
I'm a member of the Baha'i faith,
Baha'i
yes.
faith, and does everybody know what the Baha'i faith is? Can you explain your most deeply held beliefs in about 30 seconds for this crowd of people who's eating?
Can I have 47?
Just think of it like a tweet.
That's okay.
Like a tweet?
Yeah, just
the Baha'i faith as a tweet?
The Baha'i faith is a tweet.
140 characters?
Yeah.
Okay. The Baha'i faith believes that there is only one God, that this all-loving, all-knowing, creative force that courses through this universe and an infinite number of other kinds of universes is spiritually educating humanity through divine teachers that come every 1,000 years or so. And these great divine teachers all come from the same source, and they all deliver essentially the same message. So Zoroaster, Krishna, the Buddha, Jesus, Abraham, Moses, Muhammad, they're all teaching essentially the same message of love. They get diluted in various ways because they're meant to be bringing their message to humanity at a certain stage in humanity's development. So Baha'is believe that a man who Baha'is call Baha'u'llah came in Persia about in the mid-1800s, and his name translates as the glory of God. Baha'is believe that he's the most recent of these divine teachers, and that his message for today is one of unity and uniting the whole human family, that all races are one, that men and women are equal, that we need to find a spiritual cure for the ills and great challenges facing humanity. Boom.
That was beautiful.
Yeah.
All right.
Great job.
Now, follow-up question, because I did a little bit of research on you, and
okay.
by research I mean YouTube too. And I read that there was a time when you were growing up when you sort of rejected being a Baha'i, and you went away from it. And I went to a few Baha'i gatherings, and it just seems like the most positive and lovely thing you could imagine. What's not to like, or what drove you away, and what brought you back?
Excellent question. I believe that all people are on this planet to really become the very best versions of themselves, right? That's a goal we can all strive for. And that we're all on a spiritual journey. And my spiritual journey, when I was 20 years old, led me to New York City, and I wanted to, more than anything else, live the life of a bohemian. And I basically, in rebellion against my parents in rebellion against an idea, an external idea of like morality. I discarded my faith and became an atheist and flung myself headfirst into living in Greenwich Village. I dyed my hair black and started smoking filterless French cigarettes and talking about Sartre and Proust and Brecht. And we started doing theater, and kind of, to me, theater and art became my faith. It became my higher power. I really believed that through theater we could change the world. We could do the right production of Chekhov's The Three Sisters in the right church basement, and we could get the right audience to come in, and we could blow their minds, and we could change their hearts and influence them in a way that we could transport them to a whole nother level. It was a very kind of messianic idea of the theater.
So how far did you get in changing people's minds from the basement?
Most of them left at intermission.
Ah.
So that sucked. And then basically what I thought would give me tremendous freedom, right? If you don't have morality, you don't have God, you're doing what you want, you're just making art, that would give me tremendous happiness. But I found myself actually more unhappy than I'd ever been in my life, and more lost. And that led me to again, a spiritual journey where I started exploring the world's religions, kind of like your show, Have a Little Faith, and read all the holy books of the main religions in the world. And that led me to reading about Native American spirituality, which was very exciting to me, and the idea of Wankantanka. You guys, who knows what Wankantanka is? One dude back there. I see a hand. You were, oh, sorry, no offense. I can't quite see. One, that baby raised his hand. Yes, the Wankantanka is the god of the Lakota Sioux people, and the name literally means the great mystery. And as I read more about Wankantanka, I thought, oh, this is a god I could understand. It's in nature and in our ancestors, and without any time, and that is a mystery of being alive. And all of a sudden, I kind of created a new god of my understanding through Native American spirituality, and then that led me ultimately back to the Baha'i faith, and I read many of the Baha'i holy books and went to the source and really dug in and found myself 12 or 13 years later coming back to the faith that I was raised in. And I think that oftentimes we find this happening in adolescence or in our early adulthood of rebelling against what you've been brought up in and needing to find the truth for yourself. And it's an exciting road. It's also a very dangerous one, and it's fraught with a lot of perils.
Now, do you think that your faith is stronger because you had that time away from it? And if your son, who's 10 right now?
10, yes.
8 years down the road says, I don't want to be a Baha'i anymore.
I would disown him.
Okay. So
and I would cry myself to sleep every night.
Okay.
No,
okay. So, I mean, have you thought about that? Like, how do you approach faith with your son?
How do I approach faith with my son? Well, we're raising him Baha'i, but so many of the Baha'i teachings are appropriate for many faith traditions. So it's really about the importance of education and unity and love and harmony, the inherent unity of science and religion, the importance of justice and education in the spiritual transformation of humanity. So these are good things to teach any kid.
Yeah. Can you explain, because so many people will say, science and religion or faith can't coexist. But Baha'is believe wholeheartedly that they can. Can you explain a little bit more about that?
That is a very difficult topic, and I'm really not an expert on that in any means. I know that the Baha'i faith teaches that religion and science are like two wings of a bird. And religion is a weird word. It's hard to use the word religion. So I would say spirituality, perhaps, and science are two wings of the same bird, that humanity needs both of those wings to move forward, to soar. We are growing materially in leaps and bounds. I mean, 10 years ago, there were no iPhones. Everything is changing so rapidly and advancing so great materially, but we're not growing, we're not advancing spiritually. We're not advancing morally and ethically. In fact, we're taking steps back towards disunity and hatred. So humanity needs both of these things to soar, that both are an expression of God. God expresses himself through the laws of science and through spiritual laws as well. And I'm sure there's a few botanists or physicists here that would like to disagree, but that's about as good as I can do.
That brings up an interesting question, because SoulPancake, how did that come about? Because it's very new media, a new media way of discussing spirituality and important questions that normally people don't go to YouTube to see videos about faith and spirituality. They go because they want to see a cat playing some instrument.
The electric violin.
A cat can't play the electric violin?
You haven't seen that video? It's outrageous.
Hold on. Let's pull it up.
Pull it up. Pull it up. Hi. What was the question? SoulPancake. So, yes, I would like to introduce the co-founder and CEO of SoulPancake, Shabnam Magharabi. Could you stand up, please, Shabnam? She's very modest.
She'll be our speaker for the gathering tomorrow night.
Oh, she's a speaker tomorrow night for the gathering.
Yes.
Fantastic speaker. We started SoulPancake to create a presence on the web that was going to dig into life's big questions, explore what it is to be human, and uplift people using the arts. This gradually segued from a website into a YouTube channel and more of a production company. We do video production. And we were very fortunate to stumble on some great ways to make art and short film and video content that we're able to do all of these things. So spirituality is certainly one of the topics that we're tackling on SoulPancake, but we're also tackling a lot of other things: philosophy, creativity, being an artist, what brings us together, exploring our common humanity. And it's been really exciting to be a part of a company that is seeking to make the world a better place. It seems to be succeeding in doing that a little bit, as you were a part of, and is also finding an audience and becoming very successful. One of the things that put us on the map at SoulPancake is a little human being that we found in Tennessee. Yep. So we're going to hit another sample video of something that we do at SoulPancake.
Things. It's time to be more awesome. Hello, Rainn Wilson. I kiss Beyonce. It was Magical.
Hurry, kid president.
I weigh 61 pounds. That's why I'm so heavy. The world would be more awesome if...
Every interview was as good as this one with kid president.
What's this called?
The pencil sharpener.
I like it.
Treat everybody like it's their birthday. This is nice, people. You got air coming through your nose. You got heartbeat. That means it's time to do something. Science. You hear? You take up space, you matter. Am I getting everybody? Am I getting everybody? What do you think, Big Columbus?
Fantastic.
Let's change the future. Create something that will make the world awesome.
Kid president is great.
So I have a question to follow up on that. So far we've looked at this clip from Zach and this is a reel of Kid President, and those are really upbeat, positive topics. And SoulPancake also has a series called The Last Days that deals with what a lot of people try to avoid discussion of, which is end of life. And so I was wondering if you could tell us a little bit more about what The Last Days is as a series and what the impetus was for creating it.
Digging into life's big questions and connecting people and uplifting them, we found early on would require us at SoulPancake to kind of tackle life at both ends of the spectrum. The reason the Kid President came to us is we literally had a meeting at SoulPancake, and the co-founder Devin, who's not here tonight, he said, you know what, we need more joy. We need more joy on our channel. How do we find this joy? And someone had seen a little video that Kid President had done. He lives in Tennessee. His name is Robbie. He suffers from a brittle bone disease, and he's broken bones like 70 times in his body. So this kid who brings such tremendous joy to the world has suffered more than most people will in their entire lifetimes by the time he was 9 years old. And he just does nothing except bring joy to the planet. Found this little video, had a couple thousand views on it, and we signed him up to SoulPancake, and the rest is history. Well, the other end of the spectrum that we decided as a company that we wanted to explore was death. This is something that everyone in this room shares. We probably share very, very little, except the fact that we will all someday die. And this is a topic that television networks are terrified to explore. And if you try and have a conversation about death, you'll clear the room instantly. And we knew that it was crucial to explore this. We had a young filmmaker come to us with this idea. His name is Justin Baldoni. And remember that name because he's really going some places. He's an actor, a series regular on the show Jane the Virgin, which is a big Golden Globe nominated TV show. It's doing very well. But he's also a director and creator. He's directed short films, music videos, a lot of commercial content, and he's one of our key creative collaborators. And he had this idea about My Last Days, which is exploring how to find a real meaning in life by looking at the very end of life. And it was an extraordinary one-two punch to be able to create this YouTube channel that had both Kid President and My Last Days.
What I enjoy about The Last Days is that it is a life-affirming experience to view it. And so I want to ask a question to both of you. And I know I'm giving you superlatives and you hate questions like this. What is the most life-affirming experience you've ever had?
Go ahead.
Well, this is going to sound... I can't think of one instance that was the most life-affirming. But I can honestly say that when I was working for SoulPancake and making Have a Little Faith, I felt better about life and myself than I ever had, because I was putting something so positive into the world that was starting an important conversation, and I could see it. And you know, I still get emails of people who have gone through really tough times and, you know, are in rehab, and say that your videos have made all the difference in my recovery. And like, doing something like that really just made me think about what a higher purpose could be. So going to work every day for SoulPancake made a profound difference in my life. And so thank you for giving me that opportunity. And I'm just glad that I was able to be a part of it. And other than that, I don't know, because I haven't had a kid yet, so I haven't held my baby in my hands, or, you know, I've had some really wonderful experiences, but being a part of SoulPancake is right up there. So
the most life-affirming thing. So my son's birth was very traumatic. My wife had, I don't want to depress anyone, but she had something called a placental abruption. And it was very scary. It was very touch and go. It involved a 911 call in the middle of the night with an ambulance, and it was extremely terrifying. And this charming hospital in the middle of Van Nuys that we went to didn't have any room in the emergency room, so we were in the hallway, and they couldn't reach the doctor on call, and it was a very scary evening. And finally, after a lot of really gruesome details that I won't talk about here, they got a doctor, and a wonderful doctor he was, and he came in and delivered my son by C-section. And when he was delivered to me and given to me in the hallway, and I looked down into his piercingly, startlingly, glowingly blue eyes, and our two, I really saw the presence of God in that moment. I really saw this fresh human soul in my hands that was an absolutely extraordinary experience, and it's one that I'll never forget.
At your funeral, and this is for both of you, what would you most like to hear said about you?
All right, go ahead.
Oh, gosh. At my funeral, if I can hear it, I'd like someone to come over and just double check the pulse. But, but I guess, at a eulogy, I hope that...
I guess that would be the thing I would most like to hear about me at my funeral is, wait a minute, he's still alive!
Yeah.
As I'm clawing.
Yeah. No, I guess I don't really need to hear any words. I just hope that I start something that is positive, that people feel is worthwhile to continue. And, you know, people don't have to say anything about me, but I hope that the work that I do here on Earth affects other people long after I'm gone. Like, I don't care what they say. I hope there's some jokes. And then I hope there's good work that's sort of done because of something that I started.
I would like one of those fantastic Oscar or Emmy little videos of in memoriam videos with the slow motion. What happened here?
I think your lavalier is caught. I'm sorry.
With the slow motion video of me like laughing or doing something silly as Dwight, and then turning towards like a lit doorway, and then turning back, and then they fade in memoriam. Blah, blah, blah.
You should
I
probably
could get
film
one of those-
that right
Yeah, you should
now.
probably do that
to
now.
make
Just
sure
have it on
they have
standby.
it.
Wait, what?
You should film that now just to make sure they have it.
I should film my in memoriam
Film,
video.
film
have
your
it on
death
standby.
video now.
I love it. I love it.
You may have just done that here at Claremont Lincoln.
Did anybody catch that?
Yeah, did anyone have their camera out? All right. Okay, so jumping off that one, what would you like to hear? What would you least like to hear said at your funeral? What would just get you if you knew that was said about you after the fact?
What a dick.
Zach.
I was hoping at least, I don't know. I mean, I guess if anybody used any sort of slurs or, I don't know. I mean, I haven't planned out my worst funeral scenario. Like, it's not something I think about all the time. What are all the horrible things people are going to say about me after I die? I would hope that it wouldn't be too schmaltzy, because I hate that. Because it's like, be honest about me. You don't have to say all the good things. You can be honest. And hopefully the good outweighs the bad. But put in some of the bad stuff.
All right. All right. Okay, so I know you had some questions lined up for Rainn. Rainn, I don't know if you want to ask any questions from your fantastic book.
No, I'm good.
All right, fantastic.
Don't want to know anything about me. That's fine. So, can I ask you more about the Baha'i faith, sir?
Sure, whatever you'd like.
Great. Because we were going to do a Have a Little Faith episode with you, and you didn't want to be the subject of our Have a Little Faith episode, if I recall. And I'm just wondering because I don't like to be, I don't like to represent everyone with disabilities either, and I'm wondering if the reason for that is something similar, why you didn't want to be the Baha'i spokesperson.
Well, as the founder of SoulPancake, SoulPancake is not a Baha'i website or YouTube channel or production company. It's addressing certain issues that are very important, not only to my faith, but people of any faith, and agnostics of any agnostic tradition. So I think it was important to not have me interviewed as a Baha'i on the channel that I founded, just to, if it was confusing to people about what the purpose of SoulPancake was.
And that's something that we got a lot of feedback on to Have a Little Faith is, is SoulPancake promoting religion, which was an interesting, because I always felt like it was promoting conversation.
Yes.
And Baha'is, as I understand them, are the biggest thing is about service. And actors, sometimes it's a very self-serving profession. And how is being an actor a service? And do you approach that when you take a role? How is this a service?
Well, I think that being an actor contains a lot of narcissism in it, and that's a big danger. I think that every human has a battle that we fight with our own ego, right? With our own lower self. And as an actor, that's especially relevant because it's so, as an artist, you are using yourself and putting yourself front and center so much that it can very easily slip into ego and a focus on self. But the service that actors do, you know, I think that actors, I think it's silly to talk about acting as anything profound. There are definitely profound performances that have affected me greatly, but I will say that I feel very blessed that I got to play Dwight on The Office for 9 or 10 seasons and many, many episodes, and some of the conversations with fans that mean the most to me are ones when they come up and they say, you know, our family was going through such a hard time, and we would sit down together on the couch and we would watch The Office and just laugh together, and that would take our minds off our troubles. Or people say, oh, a relative was in the hospital, but we would watch The Office. Or so I remember a father came to me once and said, the only time that my son and I actually interact, my teenage son and I interact, is when we watch The Office. So thank you for that, because for half an hour each week, we actually have a connection and a shared interest. So I feel blessed to have been a part of that. However, remember that in making a show like The Office, there's so many people that contribute and participate, starting with the writers, the directors, the producer, the network that promotes it in the right way, all the crew, the people that film it and clothe us and everything like that. So it is a collaborative effort of almost 200 people in a cast and crew that help create something like that.
So when you took your role on The Office, The Office is a show that's originally created by Ricky Gervais, who is one of the most, I would say, outspoken atheists. And then you were able to use your success on The Office to create SoulPancake that encourages at least discussion of some of these bigger ideas. And have you gotten any sense of how he feels about SoulPancake, or would you ever do a metaphysical milkshake with Ricky Gervais?
That would be a great idea. I'd love to do a metaphysical milkshake with Ricky. I'm sure he thinks it's preposterous and ridiculous, and that's okay, but I'm sure that he encourages and promotes and supports anything that is trying to make the world a better place, because I think it's not ultimately about people of faith or theists versus atheists. It's about people of different belief systems coming together and trying to leave the world better than when we found it.
One of my biggest questions, because when I first learned about the Baha'i faith, it really made me think, oh, well, they seem so accepting of everyone and all the world's religions. And my question is, yet still Abdu'l-Baha and Baha'u'llah is, you pay attention to those writings and you follow those writings. Is it important to have a basis or a foundation in a singular belief like that?
That's a challenging question. Is it important to have a specific faith versus just having a general sense of
spirituality?
Of spirituality, right? That's a tough question. That's a good one. How do you answer that? I'm sure people here, I'd love to hear what people's answers are to this. I feel like I'm just talking so much. I can't stand the sound of my own voice. But I will say that I think that so much damage has been done by so many organized religions that there is a backlash in contemporary culture against religion. And if you speak to people about faith and religion, they say, well, I kind of believe in God, I believe in something that's divine. I believe in spirituality and being really good to people, but I could never be part of any existing organized religion. And I understand this sentiment completely. I think that for me, there is a leap of faith that you take that is, can lead to. So the problem with that is this. Then there sometimes, in some people, is a kind of smorgasbord spirituality going on. Yep. That they pick and choose what works for them, assuming that there is no greater truth, that there's no actual truth that is greater than themselves. And so the smorgasbord spirituality, they might like, well, I like this psalm, and I like this yoga class, and I like these crystals, and I like these Deepak Chopra books, and that's kind of where I'm going to vaguely live my spiritual life. There's nothing necessarily wrong with that. However, it is, it's pretty non-committal. And I think that it's important to really dive into what it is you actually believe. Do you believe that there is a creator or not? You can't kind of believe that there's a God, just like someone either is or they aren't pregnant. You know, there either is or there is not a God. And I think that as a Baha'i, that was the big struggle that I came with to discover that, yes, I do believe that there is a God, that there's a creator, and then if there's a creator, then what? And then that led me to really ascribing to the Baha'i belief that this God sends these divine teachers. And then it's like, well, is Baha'u'llah who he says he is? So I read the books of Baha'u'llah and delved in and prayed and meditated and took a long, long, long time studying them and delving into them. And I said, yes, I really actually do believe that Baha'u'llah is who he said he is, and that his message is one of hope and healing and unity. That was my own journey. That's not everyone's journey. It's not supposed to be everyone's journey. But I think that this mission of going on a spiritual journey and a quest and trying to figure out what life is crucial, as opposed to generally liking some vague spiritual concepts and floating through life, and then you're on your deathbed and going, oh, did I do everything that I could have done, and is that all there is? So I just think it's a crucial journey that everyone needs to undertake and find their own answer.
So, sorry. Go ahead.
Awkward. I'm sorry.
No.
Zach posed a question earlier about service, and I know you have an organization that you're involved with that provides service to young girls in Haiti, and I was wondering if you could tell us more about that.
Yes, so thank you, Whitney, for asking. So part of what I believe, and that people of so many faith traditions believe, and of so many agnostics and atheists believe too, is the importance of service to others. Scientific studies and psychological studies have shown that the greatest happiness that we can find is giving ourselves to other people and being of service to others, and that, believe it or not, focusing on ourselves and our own happiness as the way we do so much in contemporary America is a dead end and doesn't make us any happier. But being of service to others and going outside of ourselves is what truly uplifts our hearts and our souls. I was very privileged to be a part of an organization called the Mona Foundation that supports educational initiatives all around the globe, especially supports education of women and girls. And as I explored this topic of the education of women and girls, I saw how crucial this was for the transformation of humanity, to uplift, empower, and educate young women around the globe. And they've done studies that simply increasing the education of young women and girls can have a profound effect on poverty and raising people up out of poverty. Yes. When you educate a young woman or girl, she shares what she's learned. If you educate a young man, They'll move to the city and become a cab driver. Women share what they've learned with their sisters, with their sons and daughters, with their mothers, with their aunts, with their community at large. And what you teach them spreads and manifests itself tenfold. And it's, especially in the way that so many women are treated in the developing world. In Haiti, where I've spent a fair amount of time, it's really heartbreaking, the plight of women in Haitian culture. And so as I got to know the Mona Foundation and visited the schools, we visited Haiti and really fell in love with the country, visited many schools there. Then my wife and I participated in some workshops of teaching Haitian girls the arts. And it was really exciting to see the transformation that these girls would undergo. And so after many years of research and taking a long time putting together our organization, we created an organization called LIDE, which means both leader and idea in Creole. And it is empowering girls, adolescent girls, using the arts and literacy. And it started about a year ago, and it's really going pretty fantastically. We serve, in 1 year, we went from serving 0 girls to almost 500 in 5 different programs in rural Haiti. We wanted to work outside of Port-au-Prince, the capital town, and really move as far away as we could. One of the places that we work with the girls is a place called Terre de Neg, and it's so far away, most Haitians have never even heard of it. It's ridiculously remote. It's like Fresno or Bakersfield.
Okay.
It's a place where there were escaped slaves before the revolution. So, and the descendants, the people living in this town that's so remote, have been living there for over 200 years and started as escaped slaves from the plantations. And we're out there teaching the girls. And so it's been really exciting to be a part of it. It's really hard work. And we have a little video that was just put together on LIDE. It's just 2 minutes long, and we'll check it out. Bonsoir, I'm Rainn.
Namaste, Rainn.
Along with Holiday and Catherine, I started LIDE.
Et ensemble, lui-même avec Catherine, j'ai commencé l'idée.
How did LIDE evolve? Well, my wife participated in a program that was sponsored by the United Nations and a couple other nonprofits to teach an arts curriculum to adolescent girls in a tent camp. I joined up with her, and we taught drama, visual arts, creative writing, literacy.
The mission of LIDE is the idea that we are facilitating their own creative journey and journey of the imagination and understanding that their vision has value.
The obvious question is, why does a girl who lives in Haiti need the arts? These girls need shoes, they need jobs, they need roofs, they don't need photography and creative writing. And that was my skeptical voice as I started working with them. And lo and behold, I saw a complete and total transformation. I saw these frail, shy girls who originally shuffled into our little tent to do the arts activities. Shy, frail girls had become young women.
This girl came up to me and she said, I realize what LIDE is. People come to our country all the time and they bring us things. They bring us water and rice and food, but we can't do anything with it if we don't have hope. LIDE brings us hope.
And that's when I saw the power of the arts to create transformation. That, yes, young women of Haiti need shoes and they need jobs and they need education and they need roofs, but they also need to begin their journey to begin to learn.